Hello and welcome to this video on risk and reward framework for decision making. Decisions are an integral part of our lives, and it's very important to take good decisions in our lives to live a fulfilling life and achieve whatever the goals that we are set to achieve. But most of the times we struggle to make good decisions because of our fears, because of our emotions, because of our anxiety, and because of our biases. One of the main reasons that we struggle to make good decisions is because of our cognitive biases. These biases are inherent in our nature, and most of the times it can lead us to make choices that are not in the best of our interest. For example, confirmation bias causes us to seek out information only that supports our belief system while ignoring the information that contradicts it. Another example could be sunk cost fallacy, which leads us to persist in an unprofitable investment because we have put a lot of money and effort and time in that. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize winning cognitive psychologist, conducted a study that sheds light on our biases and how it generally impacts our decision making. In his study named as Prospect Theory and Analysis of Decision Under Risk, was published in 1979 with his colleague Amos Tversky, who is another cognitive psychologist from Israel. In this study, they found out that how individuals make decisions based on potential outcomes rather than objective probabilities. They discovered that people tend to overweight the potential benefits of a particular investment or the decision and underweight the potential risks that the decision can have. They found out that emotions like fear, anxiety, and intuition and experience that we had often play a very big role in our decisions. These biases can cloud our judgment and prevent us from making very good decisions. One of the examples that this study found is that individuals tend to take more risk when they are faced with a potential loss or such as probability of losing money than when faced with the opportunity of potential gain, which is a possibility of making money. This phenomenon is also called as loss aversion. People tend to be risk averse for gains and risk seeking for losses. It's fascinating, right? You can relate to it if you are someone who is trading or investing. We as traders sometimes when we get into some kind of a losing trade, we tend to take more risk than to step back and do the opposite. I mean, I learned the risk reward concept by trading in the markets. It's kind of very popularly used in whenever you're trading in the markets. We have something called as risk reward ratio, which goes something like this: 1:1, 1:2, 1:3. It's nothing but where how much money you're putting on risk, which is and versus what is reward that you're getting. If the risk reward ratio is 1:2, then you're putting 1 rupee at risk to gain reward of 2 rupees. That's broadly the concept. Simply put, the risk is a possibility of losing money and the reward is a potential profit that you're going to get if the bet goes in your favor. But I kind of find it very useful where this concept cannot be just limited to trading. In fact, I believe that if we all consciously use this framework, risk reward framework, consciously in our personal and professional decisions, in whatever the decision that we're taking in life, and figure out what is the potential outcome for the risk that we are taking, then I believe we can make a much better decisions in life. Whether it is making any big purchase, taking a car, taking a home, or changing careers or taking a trip, we can consider the risks associated with each decision and probably remove the biases which can lead us to hopefully making better decisions. In the next few minutes, we'll explore the risk reward framework and how we can apply that in our personal and professional lives. So let's get started. The risk reward framework is a tool or I can call it as a mental model that one can use to visualize the potential outcomes of a particular decision. The framework is based on the principle that every decision we make is associated with risk and reward. So if you have risk on the x-axis and you have reward on the y-axis, if you divide the entire graph equally into 4 quadrants, then you have 4 different scenarios: low risk, low reward; low risk, high reward; high risk and low reward; and high risk and high reward. So I also call this 4 quadrant maybe given different names. One of the names for the low risk and low reward can be called as safe zone or comfort zone. Decisions that are made in this quadrant potentially does not have any greater impact in terms of returns because the risk is also very low here. And some of the examples could be keeping money in a savings account or putting money in a fixed deposit. The other quadrant, which is a high growth quadrant, which probably could be the ideal zone that one want to be in, where the risk that you're taking is very minimal for the reward that you potentially gain. Some of the examples could be investing in a diversified portfolio or starting a small business where if you're comfortable mentally with the loss that you're going to make if it doesn't work out. But if it works out, then you can gain a very high outsized profit as well. The other quadrant is high risk and low reward, which is actually no win situation, and in fact for me it's no brainer. It's something that one needs to completely avoid, where you're taking too much of risk for the reward that you're getting, which is very insignificant. Some of the examples for this could be investing in a very highly speculative stock, or gambling, for example, could come into this. And the high risk high reward quadrant, which is actually a very adventure or a thrill zone, is something where the risk is very high and the reward that you're going to get from that also could be very high. And some of the very high some of the examples in this quadrant could be investing in a high growth startup, and investing in a very risky stock, maybe investing in crypto, for example, because if you entered the crypto market and if you invested in that at the right time, you could have got a very high reward. But at the same time, if you started investing in cryptos in the last 1 year, then most of the coins would have gone to zero as well. So in a personal and finance world, this is a very useful tool. But how do we make use of it in our personal and professional decisions that we take in our daily lives? The low risk, low reward zone, which is a safe haven. These decisions may provide stability and security, but do not offer much of growth or an excitement in terms of the accelerated thrill that you are looking for. Examples of safe haven could be in the personal level, where we choose a stable career and with a steady salary, or investing in a very low risk savings account, or investing in FD. In the high growth quadrant, the decisions may not be as risky as other options, but offer a significant potential for growth and advancement in your personal and professional career if it turns out to be true. An example of the high growth decision in our personal lives could be learning a new skill or improving your career prospects by learning a new skill. And the no win situation is again a no brainer. This quadrant, it represents a high risk and low reward kind of decision. An example in our personal lives for a no win situation could be taking hasty decisions in your career without too much of a preparation. You want to change your career from one field to another field, but you've not done and you've not prepared much while doing that. That's a very high risky proposition. And for high risk and high reward quadrant, and these decisions offer a potential for a significant reward, but also carry very high risk as well. Consider a scenario where you're comfortable in a particular job, you have very stable career, but you started up something, and if the reward for that, if it clicks, could be very high. But at the same time, if it doesn't work out, you tend to lose a very important stability, security that the general job carries. Finally, making decisions is an inevitable part of our lives. We cannot avoid taking decisions in our day-to-day lives. Whether it is personal level or professional level, we are constantly faced with choices that requires us to weigh the potential outcomes. However, it's common for all of us to feel overwhelmed or to feel uncertain about making decisions, especially when the risks are high and the rewards are kind of uncertain. This is where the risk-reward framework comes in. The framework provides a clear and structured way to analyze the potential outcomes. I also believe that this framework can be highly personal and highly individualistic, because everyone has their own risk appetite. What is safe haven for me may be high risk and high reward for you, or vice versa. So you can assess what makes sense for you, but it's a practical framework that one can use to overcome any kind of biases in our decision making. Risks are a natural part of life, right? Without that, we cannot progress. We cannot go advanced in our professional lives or personal lives. It's very important to take risk, but it's very important to take the calculated risk. So this framework can help you to take that calculated risk. I hope this is useful. Please let me know any feedback in the comment section below. This is Pavan. I'll see you in the next video.